Hello there, my name is Xevious, and this is the first video of my new channel. I'll say more about it at the end of the video, just in case you're not interested. So, without losing more time, let's take a look at the evolution of the World of Warcraft in-game map from Vanilla up to Legion. First things first, this is the map of the opening cinematic. You can see that the general shape of Azeroth is really early, mainly the north of the Eastern Kingdoms, but also a few zones from Kalimdor. The biggest change you can see up to Mr. Pandaria is what is speculated to be Thal'dranath, or however you say it, I'm not an expert in World of Warcraft pronunciation, Zandalar, and also the Broken Isles in the north, which are now confirmed for Legion. Second notable change are the two islands near Strangleton Valley, the first one being Gilligam's Island, which is the smaller one, and the second one is Island of Dr. Lepidus, which are also known as the Plunder Isles. Both of them were scrapped during WoW First Alpha, but still made their way to the cinematic. So here is a look at the updated map which appeared in game. Plunder Isles are gone, and these are the main areas that changed. So now let's move on to the Burning Crusade. The only two notable changes on Azeroth in the Burning Crusade are the Draenei starting zones near Thal'dranath, which are Blood Mist Isles and Azure Mist Isle, and also the Blood Elf area, composed of the Ghostlands, Eversong Woods, and Isle of Thal'dranath. Of course, there's the addition of the Outland map, which is a whole new planet, but there's nothing much more to say about Burning Crusade other than that. So I suggest we move on to Wrath of the Lich King. Biggest change here, of course, is the out of the Northrend continent. You can also notice that the Broken Isles are now completely gone. Once again, not much to say about Wrath, but here's a closer map of the Northrend continent. So now let's move on to the bigger one, Cataclysm. Cataclysm, as you may know, is the biggest change Azeroth has ever had. It's even in its own name. Zones were redesigned, a lot were added, some were cut in half. Of course, I won't be covering all the zones, maybe it will be in a future video. But for the moment, let's start with the Eastern Kingdoms. So I chose closer maps just to see where exactly are the new things. The Cataclysm emerged, Vashj'ir, and Tolbarad was also added. Of course, the general design of added zones were completely changed, such as Twilight Islands and Gilneas, but also minor changes appeared, such as the water between Stormwind and Ironforge. Moving on to Kalimdor. Nothing much was added on Kalimdor side, but you can definitely see the huge change near Tanaris and mainly in Thousand Needles. Uldum and Igel were now properly displayed, just like in the Eastern Kingdoms. Also, there's a minor change to Ashara, now populated by the goblins. Finally, we can move on to the Maelstrom, which is completely new. Deep Home is added, as well as the goblin homeland known as Kazan, and finally the Lost Isles. Unfortunately, for some reason I couldn't find any zoomed out version of the Cataclysm map. So we can move on to Mist of Pandaria. First thing to say about Mist of Pandaria will once again be the add of the continent of Pandaria on the world map, which is located south to the Maelstrom. Second, what we believe were Zandalar Island and Thal'dranath were both removed to leave place for Pandaria, growing the list of scrapped wild islands. Here's a closer look. Of course, there is the Wandering Isles, used for Pandaren starting zone, which can be put on the map since it's moving. Then in 5.2, Isle of Thunder and Isle of Giants were both added. And finally, in 5.4, Timeless Island joined the crew. So that's it for Mist of Pandaria. We can now move on to Warlords of Draenor. What to say about Warlords of Draenor? So disappointing in so many ways, and even the world isn't spared. Of course I can't show you the world map change since it's another planet, but this is Draenor as it was planned. First changes are Farallon and Ogre's Island, which were built cut in Alpha, plus the small island under Spire of Arax. And there's also this huge continent that appeared in the bottom left corner of Warlord's first map. So I guess we got lucky to even see Titan Jungle with all these scrapped content. And finally, we're moving on to Legion. I decided to add the Legion map since we've already seen some important change even in Alpha. The main thing being the remove of Thal'dranath, which seems to follow the unfortunate path of World of Draenor. And the second one being the remove of this other island and what I'm going to assume would be Azuna. So here's the current in-game map. We don't know yet exactly where will be the Broken Isles located, but we know it should be somewhere left to the Eastern Kingdoms and Lower Northrend, just as planned in Vanilla. Also, here's a view at max zoom out level for fun, during the Burning Crusade, and during Warlords of Draenor. So that's it for today's video, hope you enjoyed. If you do, make sure to leave a like. Also, I'd love to hear your comments. It took very long to do this. If you have any video suggestion, leave them down. I'm sorry in advance if I mispronounced any words, English is not my first language. If you want to know more about me, make sure to look at my introduction video. Subscribe for more World of Warcraft content, and on this, I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!